blood cobalt. One of the poorest countries on Earth is paying a heady price for the world's green energy revolution. A deadly business. The Katanga region of the Democratic Republic of the Congo was known to colonial adventurers as the Copper Belt. There's now a new game in town. Beneath Congo's rich red earth lies the world's largest known deposit of cobalt, a key metal in the lithium-ion batteries that power everything from smartphones to electric vehicles. Last year, Congo supplied about 70% of the world's cobalt, dwarfing its closest competitors, Australia and Russia. As the world races to adopt green energy technologies in the fight against climate change, cobalt is in demand like never before. Batteries now account for over 50% of global cobalt consumption, and with electric vehicle sales predicted to surge from 6.5 million in 2021 to 66 million by 2040, the world's appetite for the metal is only growing. But the violent rush to extract cobalt is unleashing a new cycle of misery and foreign domination in one of the world's poorest nations. Massive industrial mining operations, mostly Chinese-owned, have moved into Congo, intent on dominating the next energy epoch. The big mines are accused of corruption, poisoning the locals, and exploiting Congo's resources with little benefit for the country. On the fringes of the big mines, nearly 250,000 small-scale miners, including women and children, labor for a smaller piece of Congo's mineral riches. They work in tunnels and open-pit mines dug by hand, exposed to radiation, cave-ins, arrest, and even death. Mostly economic migrants from Congo's impoverished interior, these freelance cruisers are known as artisanal miners. It's a term that belies the extreme hazards of their profession. Theirs is a deadly business. Children are everywhere. They dangle gleefully from trees, sweat as they pump water at the town well, and braid hair on the front steps of their concrete homes. Among them, sitting on a plastic chair in her front yard, is Mama Nicole. Her child is gone. Mine security patrols are known to chase, arrest, beat, and sometimes shoot at trespassers. But they are risks the miners feel they must take. If they don't find cobalt, they don't eat. As Demba and a friend scrambled up the embankment, a section more than 30 meters high sloughed off and buried them alive. The tragedy of their deaths is uncommon only in that their bodies were recovered and unearthed by other artisanal miners. CDM is a subsidiary of the Chinese multinational Zhejiang Huayu Cobalt, one of the world's biggest cobalt producers. For years, Huayu supplied cobalt to battery makers who in turn supplied Volkswagen and Daimler with their electric vehicles. In the past, Huayu openly bought cobalt from artisanal miners. Then, in 2016, Amnesty International concluded the company most likely benefited from child labor. Huayu pledged to clean up its act. It committed to ridding its supply chain of child-mined cobalt and promised to help make artisanal mining a safer source of work for the many people who rely on it. An open-sky mine. To appease major battery buyers like Apple and Tesla, the Congolese government pledged to crack down on children working in mines. The DRC is a rich country, full of minerals, says Albert Mutawa, the mine's site manager, as he juggles calls on 3 cell phones. But the government doesn't provide money for schools, so parents send their children to the mines instead. There are hundreds of them scattered across the region, some employing up to 15,000 artisanal miners. Hand-dug open-pit mines can be extremely dangerous. Just a week earlier, a section of a nearby mine collapsed and killed at least 6 workers. Most of the boys working in Mutawa's mine are between 12 and 16 years old. They're not exactly mining. Those digging jobs are reserved for adults laboring at the bottom of the pit. The boys have an even more arduous task, hauling 40 kilograms sacks of cobalt-rich dirt up the mine walls and loading them onto trucks. Mutawa tells us it takes 1,200 sacks of cobalt to fill a truck, and each crew fills 2 trucks a day. That means each boy will carry around 240 sacks a day. For their efforts, they'll earn less than $1 a day. Once the cobalt has been emptied into the trucks, a crew of even younger boys, 5 and 60-year-olds, run the empty sacks back down into the pit. Despite the government ban on children working in the mines, there's little enforcement on the ground. This makes it nearly impossible for buyers to ensure a supply chain free of child labor. Tainted supply. While cobalt from Mutua's mine won't be sold directly to companies like Apple and Tesla, it eventually finds its way into some of the products we use. Thousands of tons of cobalt, some of it mined by children, will be exported to refineries for purification. Further up the supply chain, it may be mixed with cobalt from mines that are child labor-free, which makes it impossible to trace. Then it will be on-sold to dozens of manufacturers who make components for phones, computers, and electric vehicles. And there's the rub. Amnesty International says smartphone companies and electric vehicle makers can't be sure they haven't used cobalt from mines where children work. There's no benefit. US's presence in Congo is in line with Chinese President Xi Jinping's Made in China 2025 policy, a sweeping plan to transform China into a manufacturing superpower in 10 areas. That includes developing the capability to make batteries for electric vehicles. China's aim is to control the global supply chain, from extracting metals to manufacturing the batteries themselves. As of last year, 15 of the 19 biggest industrial mines in Congo were owned or financed by Chinese companies. In exchange for the right to extract Congo's mineral riches, China has pledged to spend billions on infrastructure, including schools and roads across the country. The Congolese government, with financial assistance from the US, is now conducting a broad review of Chinese mining contracts, part of a wide-ranging effort to combat corruption. The Chinese industrial mines are notoriously secretive, but a whistleblower who works for one of the big mines agrees to meet with me on the condition his identity is kept secret. He tells me beatings are commonplace, but worse is the Chinese attitude towards the safety of their Congolese employees. A new day. But the decision to send children to school can be a difficult one. We encounter resistance, says Sister Wainoi, because the parents feel taking away the children from training them in the mine is reducing the income of the family. We have seen many cases where parents say, if you go to school, we won't feed you. To overcome this problem, the sisters have started a feeding program. They now provide all their students with one meal a day. For many, it's the only meal they get. We see a lot of children putting food in their pockets, and when we ask why, they tell us it's to feed a little brother or little sister at home, she says. The feeding program helps make the decision easier for Mama Natalie. The following week, she helps her sons with donated uniforms. She asks John and King to bow their heads and pray before setting off to class. These children are our future, Mama Natalie says, as they scurry down the road. We are young today and are strong, but when we get old, they will be in charge. It's a future that Sister Justicia Nekisapili of the Sisters of the Good Shepherd worries about when she sees thousands of children going to the mines. What will become of tomorrow? She asks. We will reach a time when the Congolese children of this generation will be saying that every foreigner, everyone around them, has looted their lives.